Okay, in this video I'm going to be tying the Crappie Candy. This is a great fly for both crappie and shad. When I'm targeting shad with this fly, I'll typically tie it with hourglass eyes, or if you're going to tie it with bead chain eye, just fish it with poly leader or sink tip. It's just as effective. This particular version of this fly, I'm going to be tying it up with some bead chain. So in the vise I have a Mustad 3906 in a size 8, and I'll be tying this fly with orange, fire orange uni thread. And I'm going to start about an eye's length behind the eye. And I'm going to go ahead and attach some bead chain eyes. These happen to be orange bead chain, but you can use whatever you have. Alright, for the tail, the original pattern calls for white marabou, or marabou, whatever color you want, I guess, but I really don't like tying with marabou. I typically replace it with kip tail, and in this version of the fly, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use some white kip tail. I'll cut a section of that off, pull out any of the fluff, grab it by the tips and pull out any of the short hair. And you want this tail to probably be about the length of the body. That might be a little long for shad, but for crappie you're getting a little bit more action. One of the ways that you can fish this is under a float. Just stick a float 2 or 3 feet above it on your leader, and the fly will suspend around structure, and that's a great way to get crappie with them. So if the shad bites slow, I tend to fish this fly that way. So having a little extra tail gives me a little more action. If you're fishing it for shad and you start to feel like you're getting short strikes, you can always just use your nippers to trim down the tail. Okay, for the body, I'm going to be using some uni floss. I've seen this tied, I believe the original way was with wool thread. I've seen it done with chenille. I like the way floss looks. So I'm just going to peel off a foot or so of orange floss. And I'll fold that in half around my thread and then capture it. We're going to need some flash for this fly. I'm going to be using some orange marabou here. I'm sorry, orange flash boo. And you need, I don't know, 4 to 5 strands maybe. I like to fold it in half. Because you're working with such a small fly here, just go ahead and fold it in half again around your thread. And then capture that at the butt of the fly. I'll go ahead and advance the thread up. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and wrap my body. think I have enough to take that back down again and then bring it back up. Then I'll capture with my thread. And snip away the excess floss. Now what you want to do is bring your flash up and capture it with your thread. Maybe just one loose wrap. And I like to kind of splay that out so it covers the entire top of the fly. And to protect that little floss body and flash, I'm just going to touch it with some Sally Hansen. I'm going to tie in a throat, and again I'm going to be using some white kip tail for that. Go ahead and advance my thread forward first. And you can just let that flash hang there. And then you want a short section of kip tail here. It should not be as long as the tail. Let's say, you know, about to the bend of the hook. So I'll go ahead and capture that. It looks pretty good. And then just go ahead and snip away your excess. Be careful not to cut your flash. Alright, next you're just going to fold back over your flash here, and again kind of splay it to either side of the fly, and then you're just going to give a couple of wraps behind the eye. Advance your thread forward and build up a small head. I'll go ahead and whip finish. Snip away the thread. And then just go ahead and trim your flash. And same thing, you want the flash to be I don't know, just off the back of the fly. So maybe just past the bend. Not as long as the tail. And that is the crappie candy. It's a great shad fly as well. Like I said, I like to fish it with the float sometimes and target crappie if the shad bite's a little slow. Enjoy.